My blissful, gorgeous self, the question arises, if Yogi Gorakhnath was such a great yogi, his guru, Yogi Matsyendranath, must be much more higher, more advanced than him. Then why he fell in love affair with a lady, although queen, but even to a regular yogi, a woman should be seen only as a bundle of blood, bones, marrow covered with skin, no matter who or how great she is. The same way a yogini is fake until she is advanced enough to see all men only a bundle of blood, bones, covered with skin, and all wealth just trash, all luxuries just a spiritual talent devourer. So why Yogi Gorakhnath accepted some so weak and disqualified person as his guru, and why he is jumping on such a serious danger, risking his life? The answer is, even you become enlightened, prarabdha still have to go through, my dear friends. Past karmas have to pay off. That's why we see Ramakrishna Paramahansa, even after being enlightened, even trying very many other approaches to enlightenment, still suffered throat cancer. Although suffering was not happening to him, but only to his body, of which he was only a witness, an onlooker. But people saw him with their suffering vision, that he is suffering. Many times offenses to a super advanced yogi's curse are also the cause of such havocs. Shakuntala and Dushyant, known as Romeo Juliet of India, were lost in oblivion due to passionate clinging on their first union. They were unaware of the presence of a super advanced yogi. Then he cursed them. He cursed only the king because his responsibility was greater. He was not supposed to forget everything and become unaware and unconscious. So he cursed him to forget his love, and he forgot that Shakuntala has to fight a big battle to get his memory back. That is a long story. Leave it for later. There are many reasons for clouds of ignorance to overshadow the broad light of enlightenment, even one is enlightened. So therefore, Yogi Matsyendranath was supposed to fall in the mire of love affairs, and turn as worldly as anyone else, and his all-powerful disciple was to save him. Now, the question arises, when was Yogi Gorakhnath left? Modern education, Macaulayite education teaches only British engineered fake interpolated history of India. It swallows a huge lapse of time of 1300 years and foolishly teaches, insists, 1800 BC born Buddha as 500 BC born, and 500 BC born Shankaracharya, 800 AD born yogi. And so many blunders are being taught all over India, my dear friends, in the name of my college education. So they have, so they shove Yogi Gorakhnath's time somewhere among the Muslim times, that is by 1300 AD to 1400 AD, somewhere like that. So Hindu historians explain King Vikramaditya of Ujjain was born around 2083 years ago. His elder brother was King Bhartrihari. He adopted the path of yoga, renouncing the worldly life. So King Bhartrihari and his sister's son, the King of Bengal, King Gopi Chand, became disciples of Natha tradition of yoga. Those days, Yogi Gorakhnath, Yogi Matsyendranath, Yogi Jalandharnath and other 9 of yogis moved around the globe, helping people, enlightening kings, doing great things of wonder, my dear friends. So long before 3000 BC, these 9 of yogis were seen as Yogi Kavi, Yogi Hari, Yogi Avirhotra and Yogi Karbhajan and all that. In that life, they were sons of King Bharat, on whose name this entire nation became known as Bharatvarsha, my dear friends. So let us enter into the topic. So as long as you have not developed the deeper realms of the psyche, as long as you have not touched mystic trance, so long you can be hypnotized and made to forget things which seem to be so real and so much a part of you that you would die without them. But when consciousness begins to function, when you are integrated and the faculty of discretion is working smoothly and efficiently, then you have gained something which is so integral, and even hypnosis, even death cannot eradicate. Only then can one be said to be truly free and independent, my dear friend. So Hanumanji was such a total being, a celestial being, hurled through the space. At last his body landed on the ground. His mind became sleepy and he was not faint. He entered into consciousness, and therefore when he wanted to know who is it that put me in such a condition, he could not remember anything except his beneficent Bhagavan Sri Ramachandra. He remembered Sri Ram in great reverence. That was his nature. There was nothing to do but remember him, ceaseless prayers with cry and longing for his darshan. And when Hanumanji remembered him like this, then Bhagavan Sri Ram appeared. Beautiful forms of highlish, bluish, greenish light, Sri Ram motion. What happened to you, Hanuman? My Lord, I don't know. Look at me, and you will know by yourself. Immediately Bhagavan Sri Ram released the baton, and a certain astra and many eagles were born. Garudastra he shot. And many eagles were born which ate up all the snakes which were binding Hanumanji like ropes. Then the Astra soothed his body which was cut, bitten by the snakes. Sri Ram released Vibhaktastra, my dear friend, that is another weapon. And Jnanastra, and Hanumanji was perfectly alright again. He was fully conscious. What happened, Hanuman? My lord, I don't know. Sri Ram closed his eyes for a while and he knew everything. He was sitting quietly, not saying anything, but as much as time passed, Hanumanji was feeling more and more restless, not because Bhagavan Sri Ram was not speaking, but because someone had so heavily attacked him without any warning, without any reason. And he said, my lord, may I know who is this that put me in such a degraded condition? Bhagavan Sri Ram said, dear Hanuman, now you should think about it. Demons are monsters, you already know, they cannot fight. They have already learned a great lesson in Treta Yuga. They cannot dare to displease you. Amongst the celestial beings also there is no one who would do this. They are all friends. Therefore, he must be a human being. My lord, Hanumanji asked with a great humility, who can be this human being that is shooting at me? I am eager to teach him such a lesson that he should not do this to anyone who has not done any offense. I was just going to do my duty. I have not done any harm to anyone. Why he did this to me? I want to teach him a great lesson. Bhagavan Sri Ram laughed. Hanuman, please be still, be comfortable, think, decide. After that, do something. My lord, then tell us. Then let us think. Would you tell me who is this opposer and what he wants? Why he wounded me? Sri Ram became serious and said, nowadays on the earth there are many Natha yogis who are so powerful, who are wandering everywhere fearlessly on the globe. They are ruling the earth, and not only the earth but other planes of existence as well. You may have heard about Yogi Matsyendranath. He had given a special ash to Saraswati, and a very powerful child has been born. In the form of that child, a great Yogishwara Hari is born. His recent name is Yogi Gorakhnath. Yogi Gorakhnath, Hanumanji was surprised in great wonder. He asked Sri Ram, the disciple of Matsyendranath, how can he be so powerful when his guru is sinking in the mud of sensual pleasures in the lady's empire? It is surprising how his disciple can be so powerful. Bhagavan Ram says, there is nothing surprising, Hanuman. Tapas is the process of great power. One can become invincible through tapas, and the most important in tapas is transcending, going beyond conscious mind and subconscious mind and unconscious mind and cosmic unconscious and arrive at timeless, breathless, egoless state in transcendental consciousness. So staying longer and longest in the transcendental consciousness and living intergalactic lifestyle is such a powerful feeling, power developing golden life that one can become almost all powerful and invincible, and not only in physical plane but in astral and celestial planes. Nothing is impossible. There is no one who can face someone who has properly lived intergalactic lifestyle combined with experiences in transcendental consciousness, who has performed austerity in the form of tapas. There are great meditators in the world, great yogis, all the great people. Still no one has a great power as this. I want to teach him a lesson, no matter whosoever he is. Hanumanji was really hurt because of this disrespect, this insult which was made without any great offense or even mistake. Hanumanji was really unhappy. Sri Ram said, Hanuman, you should not think this way. The gentleman who did this to you had no intention to disrespect you. He is a very good person. He loves his Guru, loves him so much that he cannot remain without him. This in itself is the greatest qualification. Such a person can have any power, he can do anything in the world and he will have all my blessings. He can roam in the world like a lion because he has love for his Guru. And where there is love, all power of the Guru, all knowledge of the Guru, all delicacies of feelings of the Guru are naturally and spontaneously attained. One cannot miss it. He is on a mission to take his Guru back from the Ladies' Empire, and he knows that you will send him away. He knows it. Therefore, he has shown some of his power to you, so you can have an idea with whom you have to confront before you try to stop him from getting his Guru back. It is just a way of communication, Hanuman. Try to learn this. It is not to disrespect you, not to dishonor you, not to insult you. It is simple way of communication. This is the way to talk. So Hanumanji said, my Lord, but now I am developing another anxiety because Matsyendranath is staying in Ladies' Empire only because I have ordered him to do so. He is helping me because Queen Menakini wanted an enlightened yogi as her husband. She disliked to have a materialistic regular person as her husband. She wants to enjoy in the world, but not with a regular ordinary person, but enlightened yogi. She wants a yogi. I made Matsyendranath available the best of the yogis in my view. And if